all the data, the interest, the natural trajectory of Formula One has us thinking that this is going to be the single most important Formula One trading card ever made.
Over the past 3 years, I've been on the sports card journey of a lifetime, one that I never thought possible growing up. It's brought me endless opportunities and experiences, and now I'm super excited to be sharing that with all of you. So, join me, Cameron O'Hara, and longtime sports card expert Michael Inoue as we take you on a sports card journey like no other, opening our doors and taking you behind the scenes of some of the most successful stories in our industry, both past and present, and hopefully the future, as we go and search together for the next modern marvel. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Modern Marvels podcast. I'm your host, Cameron O'Hara, joined once again by my good friend, Michael Inoue. Mike, we got a lot to talk about. It's been a minute since we filmed our last podcast, and a lot has happened since then. We set up at the National Card Show. We did the West Side Card Show with all of our guys. It's been a blast all around. Anything you want to touch on specifically with those two shows?
Yeah, there's a lot that happened since our last recording. I think the sports card market is having a great moment right now in general. If we're to talk about the sports card market more broadly, there's a lot of different pockets right now that are doing great. I think at the West Coast Card Show, we heard the amount of volume that was happening in the TCG, in particular Pokemon. Very, very encouraging signs, a lot of enthusiasm in our world also. It's sports trading cards, a lot of record sales happening. We heard about some amazing sales. Congratulations to the guys out there. We're known for F1, but I get so many guys come up to me talking about their other sports card plays now because of what we're doing here, Cam. I think people get the gist of what we historically do. And I heard of some massive wins. I mean, you're talking about guys who had under $5,000 buy-ins into cards that literally can buy a house with those same exact cards. And just hearing these stories, please don't stop them, people. I love sports card wins, and it's just great to hear all throughout the market. In our smaller pocket of Formula One, because we do think this is the next big one, it was off the charts. Chicago was amazing, but just as amazing was Anaheim. And the big thing with these is, and we said it at the Fanatics Fest 2 in New York, the general acceptance of Formula One, it is happening faster than anybody anticipated.
Oh yeah, we can definitely see that. At these shows, the amount of people that came up, I felt a little bit bad at a certain point because we were just kind of crowding up a large corner of our space, so it kind of blocking the walkways a little bit. But I mean, to just focus on the positive, that many people came out, not just for F1 but in general, like you're saying, it's a great time for the hobby in all aspects, just to see how much of a community is being built specifically for the F1 market. Mike, was there anything that you saw at these shows that you wanted to kind of dive into a little bit?
Yeah, you mentioned it, Cam. So in Chicago, and traditionally for the National, it's a definitely more old school show. Soccer and basketball, to a certain extent, doesn't have as much representation as the traditional American sports. That's baseball and football. And so Formula One doesn't really have a place on the floor, but we do have a small section there. And like you mentioned, it was overflowing this year. 2 years ago, in the same exact spot in Chicago, we couldn't get people to stop to even listen to anything we're talking about. We'd get a lot of grunts. We get a lot of people telling us, no NASCAR for me. This year was very, very different. When it wasn't crowded, we had a lot of people just stop and really with a relieved face saying, oh, F1. And whether they were genuinely interested in it or they knew somebody interested in it. And most times it's my cousin, my nephew, my niece, my good friend who isn't into trading cards, loves F1. And they would sit and chat, or some people were genuinely relieved because they were looking for F1 on the floor. What it eventually led to in Chicago was we did have an overflow. Me and you, Cam, we're normally very considerate of everything around us. It made us feel really bad at a certain point where it literally was blocking the aisle. 4 full days of almost nonstop action on our side. And I think the biggest one that people are going to leave Chicago with is the trade night. And big shout out to the P1 Castle and Golden Pulse and all the other sponsors for it. It was absolutely amazing. When this thing started, this is the 4th iteration of it every year at the National. I think the highest attendance before this year was somewhere around 100 to 120. There were over 300 attendants for this, and it was as special as it gets. It was not just a trade night. It is a room full of a bunch of affluent guys. The amount of deals, the amount of respect in that room. It's something that I've never seen before. There's a very gentleman-like quality to it. It's really, when we say sports cards done the right way, that's what that room felt like. There's camaraderie, there's respect, and there's a lot of big deals happening.
Yeah. What you just said right there, that gentleman-like setting, it's the first time that you mentioned it to me, but when I hear it, that's a perfect way to sum up my experience there as well. I mean, for the most part, when we're at these events, I don't even get to sit down, which is a good thing because it means that we're busy. But that atmosphere that's created, it does feel a little bit different than your traditional, I think, what you'd expect with the sports card show. It becomes a lot less transactional and much more about a community, a friendship, a respect, a mutual respect that's being built between all parties. Sometimes it's not just one-on-one talking. It's a group of people that are all facilitating a conversation. So like you were saying, Golden Pools and P1 Castle, they did an amazing job putting that event together and really getting all the right people involved.
Yeah, and I can't emphasize it enough. We study markets, we study demographics the entire time. I've been saying this for years. This F1 demographic really does remind me of the early behavior of the basketball community. A community was built off of a lot of camaraderie, a lot of people working together. I'd hear stories about people literally working at the time on message boards to make sure that people were taken care of, and you had a lot of good characters willing to make deals. And just like basketball, true to form, that trade night had some of the biggest transactions I heard of over the weekend, and we're talking about cards that are not one-of-ones trading for astronomical amounts. I know people may not really understand this quite yet, but this F1 market, we love it for all these different purposes, but there is a spend like no other in this market. It is genuine collectors buying these cards. It's being mixed with an investing crowd, and I think they're all going to be right because it is foundationally, when you think the product through, it makes too much sense. And those are all the elements that lead to extreme value in collectibles. It's happened in baseball in the past and more recently in basketball. So it's exciting to see all around. And I do want to say, I think there was definitely a presence of F1 at the National, and the acceptance of it was off the charts. I had a lot of old-time dealers come up to me and ask a lot more questions than they ever have with this. And we're talking about some of the biggest, most famous names. I think F1 is a very, very hot topic right now amongst the guys who really traditionally invest in sports cards.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, using other sports, talking about what they like and then segueing into Formula One, it definitely, I think, has increased in receptiveness where things are more relatable and they at least are willing to listen and understand kind of what we're doing. And I think that that's a big point of emphasis moving forward, is knowing that we're not the oddballs anymore, or not as odd, I guess you could say. It's just people that are happy to be there, and it's a good thing to see. Moving on with the West Coast Card Show, that was pretty special.
Cam, I wanted to hit on one thing, and you said the oddballs or being different. And I remember when we were setting up 2 years ago, I think there might have been that feeling, but on my side, I do pride myself and our business on being not necessarily the oddball, but being brave and bold. If you have great thoughts, it's okay. It's okay to be different, but don't just be different just to be different. If it's a good thought, and if you think it through again and again and it makes sense, get to the point where you are beyond confident in it, that you're beyond your ability to say, well, I'm probably wrong because everybody else tells me. If there's something that's that good that you're still convinced of it, then it's about really having conviction in the thought. And like we were saying 2 years ago, this is going to happen. We've been around for too many of these underappreciated things to eventually go on their natural growth. And that's where we are with F1. We'll hit on this F1 market a little bit later today. We'll talk general sports. We have a big baseball thing that we're going to talk about today, the general market in particular. And we will have a lot of Formula One related information. We know a lot of you have been requesting and very much looking forward to this episode. So stay tuned for that. Cam, you asked about the West Coast Card Show. And well, let me ask you this, Cam. What did you think about the West Coast Card Show? You had a special guest with you too, so it was a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah. Shout out to my girlfriend, Kennedy. Thank you very much for your help. Super glad that she got to meet all of our guys out there. So she got to be immersed in that atmosphere and kind of understand why Mike and I love it so much. On my side, just a good experience all around. Like you mentioned, it was a huge section at TCG, which I did not see coming. I knew that it was a section at the West Coast Card Show, but I didn't realize it would take up that big of a portion of the room. Tons of Pokemon. Marvel was big. Labubus were walking all over the floor. I mean, for me, that's a lot of my childhood, which was really, really cool to see. So I'm happy that that show was able to bring almost two separate communities together into one space, and just a really good event.
Yeah, I knew you had mentioned it in this too, because it's very obvious there. The Pokemon aspect of it. It's amazing to think that that thing came out in 1999. And if we were just to say a few years after it, in the early 2000s, if somebody was setting up at a card show and had Pokemon, I think that they probably would have been smirked at, laughed at a little bit. And just going back to what you're saying earlier, Cam, being the oddball and everything, can you imagine that guy that would be set up in 2005 that had a table full of Charizards or a table full of early high-grade Pokemon? I think maybe might have received some laughs and stickers, what's this guy doing? But I think today, that same exact person, if the same exact dealer, same exact customer saw them, they would say, that was the smartest guy I've seen. That's the smartest, best investor in all of trading cards, because he was here doing something that he knew would happen and none of us did. And so it's okay to be a little bit different. I think when we took this journey a few years ago, that was kind of the approach that we had there is, no, this is actually not your traditional American sport that just made trading cards. This is a worldwide popular sport that may grow. We're talking about Formula One again, but whether it's Formula One or if you're into a different type of market that you believe has huge growth, that's what sports card investing is. Everybody can tell you a quarterback is going to be good. Everybody could have told you years ago that so-and-so player would be good. There's a lot of publications that do that professionally. What we deal with is we deal with the sports card market. It's important to look around and say, well, the rest of the world loves this and it just hasn't been collected yet. Will it be collected in the future? And that's very, very important. If you had that vision with Pokemon, congratulations to you. It's having a huge, huge moment and it's beautiful. I will issue this one caveat so that we don't steer anybody in the wrong direction. This is not to say everybody go out there and buy Pokemon. There are signs in that industry that really remind me of a previous period in sports card history that became very dangerous for a lot of people. We highlight this on our website in the playbook, our most recent playbook. It's the supply demand. And there was a moment that we talk about Joe Montana cards in the 90s where they just simply made too many, and it actually wasn't a really desired item. It was more because of the monetary benefits or the emotion. I do think we're seeing some of that behavior. If you are in the TCG sector, my advice would be just like the sports card sector, aim for the items that will always be important. Aim for the items that are supply, demand efficient, especially the supply. They're going to matter as the demand increases, so will the production. If you can find the items that are limited in production, if there is a bad moment for this, you'll be a little bit more protected. Take a look at the sports card market. We had the junk wax era, and through it, we actually had some of the most expensive cards created today. But they're the diamonds in the roughs. They're very hidden, but they're supply demand efficient to an extreme degree. I am talking about the precious metal gems. I am talking about those big inserts in the basketball sector. And it is about identifying those. So TCG guys, having a moment, have fun with it, but make sure to do it with good measure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a lot that I see. I mean, locally, I get to set up at these card shows as well, and nothing is hotter than Pokemon cards at these things. People, they love it. It's families, it's couples, and it's really cool to see. The same thing, like you're saying, like telling all of them, same advice is to just be cautious, right? It's a fun place to be, but it also requires responsibility, especially if you want to continue doing it. Not everybody has unlimited budget, so we do caution people with it. And obviously, we're not extreme experts in that space, but it is something that is relatively similar to what we do. Now, with that in mind, if we focus on something that we do know, and it's something that we're pretty confident in, it's what Mike's been doing for a long, long time now. There's a play that we have for you guys in the sports card market. And this example that we're going to bring up, I personally love it. Right now, it's probably my favorite one because it really showcases what Mike does and why it can be sustainable and efficient for all parties. You don't need to be somebody that has only $5,000 to spend. You can have $5. So, Mike, I want to hand this over to you now. I want to let you kind of break it down for us, and then I will take everybody into a more in-depth analysis about what we're doing here.
Yeah, so, I'll build the parameters of it. Cam, you go and share the play. This is a shared play that we've created as a company. So it's going to be baseball. And we know everybody is after the new hot prospect. It's the big thing in baseball, right? Everybody wants to buy Mike Trout before he's Trout. Or more importantly, if you can buy Otani or a Mookie Betts, it's even a bigger ROI. It's the way to play the baseball game. I've done it myself for a long, long time. I have a lot of wins in it too, just like everybody else. But big caution, I have losses too. And I know a lot of people have huge losses. But the thing to do is study, and once in a while you have these gems that emerge, an inefficiency, if you will. And so we believe we've found one that typically it makes sense on paper, and then when you look at the data behind it, the pricing structure, it still represents an inefficiency and a value. And so without further ado, Cam, who is it?
It's going to be Kevin McGonigal, guys, a number 2 prospect on the top 100 on MLB.com. Now, oh, shocker, right? We picked the number 2 prospect in all of baseball. And now what I want to focus on here is, like we've been always saying, yeah, anybody can pick the right player in a given sport. It's not hard to do that. But picking the right asset to buy, that's what matters. So what I actually would say is with this example, it's less about McGonigal himself and more about the function that we're kind of providing here. That I can't emphasize that enough. If you like McGonigal, there's tons of cards of his to buy. But if you want to be sustainable and if you want to actually make money buying Kevin McGonigal, it's gonna take certain steps. So what we're gonna focus on here is his mega box refractors. So those are it's like that Mojo looking parallel. You can get them for about $5 to $8 before or after shipping. It's a range, but let's just say $5 to $8. The PSA 10s, it's a wide range as well, but something like $70 to $100. Now, these cards specifically, they're not overly rare, and we're not necessarily saying that this is a good long-term investment. But let's break it down. So these mega box refractors, they go for about $10. PSA 10s, $70 to $100. And even the base Bowman Chromes, you can get them for a $1 or $2 a piece, and the PSA 10s run about the same amount. Now, what's interesting is what I saw was when we just did a quick dive into his market, his Bowman Chrome, those lava parallels numbered to $399, those PSA 10s, the last one went for $123.68. So a serial numbered card, numbered to $399, PSA 10 for $123. So not even double what the non-numbered refractor went for, right? And to buy that lava to $399, you'd have to pay something like $30 to $35. So triple, 4x what you have to pay for the mega box. Another example, the blue geometric number to $150. PSA 10 sold for $186. So again, still not even double those mega box refractors. And you have to pay 5-6 times the cost for it just as a raw copy. And that's where Mike and I were looking at this and said, hey, if we like McGonigal, our risk profile is going to be extremely, extremely low if we just buy a ton of these mega box refractors at $5 to $8 a piece. Mike, do you know the exact number that we have at this point on those?
Yeah. I had Cole give me a Post-it. So we have, you wrote it down for me here. But we have 255 of those, just McGonigal Mojos. By the way, everybody, we have a portfolio of every single player we build. We try to play every single level. With McGonigal, this is the extremely low level. If with him, it was pretty easy. The ultra low end with him is such a great risk-reward equation that it makes too much sense, and it's a play that we can actually share too. So I love this one for this specific purpose, and I hate to use the term no risk, especially when talking with baseball prospects. There's always risk with this. On our side, we've done the research. We've followed minor league baseball players for forever, Cam. I know you've been playing fantasy baseball for forever too. And it's awesome when you hit, a few years ago in our office, I remember telling Cam, Corbin Carroll, draft him. And Cam drafted him, was it the 7th round? And he ended up being a top 7 player in the league. And when you can buy somebody who is low risk, high reward, it makes a ton of sense. So if you're a fantasy baseball player out there, McGonigal is going to be a hot topic next year. It's okay to overdraft him, in our opinion. But more importantly, what we're talking about here is buying, collecting, investing in sports cards. And so the math you just said, Cam, it's very, very interesting. So with McGonigal, normally you're not going to see me recommend the number 1, 2, 3, even a top 10 prospect in baseball. It's not how prospecting baseball cards are done. But McGonigal's background is a little bit unique. In the past, I've never picked a top 5 prospect, but he actually surged up there. Coming into the year, I believe he was in the 30s to the 50s. He actually 2 years ago was drafted in the second round, and the Detroit Tigers famously drafted Max Clark in the first round. And they saved some money with the Max Clark deal to sign McGonigal, but McGonigal has since surpassed not only Max Clark, but almost everybody else in the minor leagues to an extreme degree. Most importantly, it's not just that he surged up the list and so maybe there's value. I encourage everybody to go and take a look at this guy's profile. There is a skill set that's very, very important in baseball, and he has it to spades. But it's a very, very rare skill set, and I like making comps. I know other people do not. I think you're never going to have a perfect comp. But just think about Wander Franco with a good attitude. And the good attitude is not just the off-the-field controversy that Wander Franco got himself into. It's the fact that Wander made it to the majors very fast, had every single tool in the book, but he still took time to adjust in the major leagues because, again, attitude. McGonigal, it takes a simple look at an interview or just taking a look at his stats to understand that there's some overperformance by this guy and maturity that is really off the charts. Aside from that, the production is there. The numbers very much justify it. The most dangerous thing you can get into here is with McGonigal, the thing that stands out is his walk to strikeout ratio. And I know people get obsessed with that, but it is an important indicator. It's more importantly how McGonigal does it. He does it within a team aspect. He's been a winning player at every level he's played. And they say for minor leaguers, and I've studied this for a while, they say you don't want them to walk too much. You actually want them, when the games don't matter as much, to be trying to hit the ball. And so if a minor leaguer is excessively walking, and there was a huge example of this a few years ago of a very highly rated prospect who would just go for the walk because it helped his on-base percentage. It made his stats look good. That's not what you want. It's basically empty stats. And true to form, that very, very high-end top prospect has struggled quite a bit in the major leagues because, the major leagues is a different ballgame. And so with McGonigal, what you have is not just the walk to strikeout ratio. You actually have impact hitting too. And it's one of the best hit tools I think most people have seen. So if we're going for a comp here, it's Wander Franco with a good attitude. And it's a bit of a combo of a Jose Altuve. And probably the most perfect comp is Dustin Pedroia.
Yeah, definitely a key thing. And the one thing that we always focus on is that good attitude that you're talking about, the character traits. It's why we liked Corbin so much. I mean, we talk about him all the time, but that's such an important aspect of when we prospect. We can pick the generational athlete. A lot of people can do that, but not everybody has the character traits that matter. And it's not to say that if you have a good attitude, you're going to be successful. You can be a really nice person and still fail in sports, but the main thing is when you put talent and that personality and character together, you're increasing your chances a lot more than someone just looking at a sheet of paper and saying, oh, that guy hit a lot of home runs this year, so I think he's going to be good. It's not that simple. But for us, that aspect of it, it makes a difference. And it actually is a barometer for us and allows us to go even stronger. If we watch an interview, we're probably more moved by that sometimes than if he got 2 hits in a game, because those things are going to happen no matter what. Their talent is there. That's why they're ranked so high. But how they interact with their peers, their teammates, even outside of baseball, if we can find that kind of information, it's extremely important.
Yeah, that little bit there, that's always a tiebreaker for me. I think talent in the end is why every athlete is there. Adrian Peterson was a monster running back. I'm not going to take the guy who was his backup at Oklahoma because he's a good guy. And in the end, it's always going to be the athletic ability that gets him there. As much as we always say Corbin's a great guy, all these different things, he's an athletic freak. So is Shohei Ohtani, even if he's probably the nicest, kindest baseball player ever. I think it's a great tiebreaker to have. I think it's great for cards and collectability, the way that they relate to an audience, a crowd, an entire city that wants to cheer for them. And it's the one that gets us over the hill to say this guy is collectible because, one, the athletic talent is there. And make no mistake about it, with McGonigal, I think the underlying data, he's been one of the top hitters in all of the minor leagues by any statistical measure, especially for his age. So he's 2 years removed from high school. He does have a small little checkered injury history, which is somewhat of a concern, which is why our recommendation here isn't go and buy his Bowman Chrome Auto for $150. It is not go and buy a Leaf autograph for $30 to $50. Our recommendation today is as simple as it gets. We've studied his market top to bottom. We love the low end. That Bowman Chrome Mega. If you're on a sports card budget and you want a bigger budget in the future, take a chance on this. It might turn to zero, but there's a good chance that this guy is, come next year, he is the Rookie of the Year frontrunner, or he is starting to cement himself. It's a card that you can sit on for 3 to 5 years and hope for some all-star games or maybe some big performances by him. If he underperforms and he's just a normal role player, it's okay. You only spent $5 to $10 on his first Bowman card. And I love the play because, Cam, as you've highlighted before privately in the office, there's some grading upside to the card too. Not many people are grading this card because it's so cheap. So everybody out there, go and rush it a bit. We bought 255 of them in a pretty short amount of time. There's a lot of room for this for everybody. And the last thing I'll say on McGonagall is, he's not priced like a number one overall prospect right now. That price I just told you on the Megas being $5 to $10 and his Bowman Chrome being $150, he's not priced like a typical number one prospect. A couple years ago, Julio Rodriguez, Jackson Holiday, you name it, even Roman Anthony right now, their cards are much more expensive. But this guy has done similar things at a similar age. He doesn't have the power profile that those guys have, but he does have the exit velocity already at his age. And there's a chance that he gets to that level. And so because of his unique circumstance of shooting up this board, I don't think the market's reacted quite as fast as they should be right now. Because if they just took out the fact that he was a second round draft pick, if they took out the fact that he was ranked 50th on a lotto list to begin the year, and they just looked at what he's actually done in his entire career, going back to high school, I think they'll see something entirely different. I think there's a reason why he's going to rank either number 1 or 2 going into next year on everybody's boards. And that value will be off the table then. So while it's there, I think buying a number 1 or 2 overall prospect for the price of somebody much lower in the rankings makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. So now let's get back into a little bit of the math, because I think one of the first questions people are going to be asking is, okay, well, if you like this guy so much and you're saying that he's underpriced, then why not just buy that lava? Why not just buy the blue geometric for that $125, $180? And the reason that we're saying this is those could be winners in the end too. You could buy that $100 card and maybe it is $400 or $500 because he takes off within the prospect rankings or he gets called up faster than we think. Those are all realistic possibilities. The reason that we bring up the Megas, that $5 to $8 to $10 card, is because this is something that everybody can do. And it'll allow you to build a profile to basically make those other cards free if you want them. If you want to play McGonagall, a bigger card, a better card, buy these refractors. Because like Mike said, there's grading upside, right? So let's just say you buy 5 McGonagall Mega Box refractors and you get them at an average cost of $8, $40 all in. And let's just say, $25 for grading? Mm-hmm. So you're into the card for something like $33, $35, and let's just say you sell it at the bare minimum that it is today at $70. You just created $35 for yourself for free on one card, and you still have the other 4, and that's just assuming none of them are gradable. Now, with us, what we did was we bought 255 of them. I think it's safe to say that more than one of them is going to be gradable. And I can attest to that because I've already graded more than one of these things. And all we're doing is creating free plays for ourselves within McGonagall. So if we continue studying him, if we see, hey, we really believe it, this guy is going to do something, we'll just sell those Mega Box refractors, feed the market because everybody's going to be looking for them too. And while they're doing that, while they're spending their money after the fact on these cards that we've already been holding onto for a while, we'll go buy that lava, we'll go buy that blue, because it's free at that point. We've allowed ourselves to build a profile within McGonagall, and it's perfect. Again, what we were saying was we're not necessarily recommending this card as a long-term investment. We're not even recommending you buy the PSA 10. What we're doing is giving you a cheap way to buy a prospect that we all like and we all think is probably going to be pretty good at a much more sustainable cost. So turn a big win into a bigger win and a much more efficient play. And I think that's the beauty of the system that we've created here. Is there anything you want to add to that, Mike?
I'm going to add it, but I'm going to say, Cam, I'm super proud of you. That's an amazing way to break down what we did here. If you are listening to this, hopefully you caught all that. If not, rewind back to it. So what Cam is explaining there, it's a big philosophy of why we do the high, mid, and low, because there's always an inefficient category, even within a player. I've said it before, a player is like a stock market. in itself. It's not just buy Shohei Ohtani, it's which level do you want to buy, which one's going to produce the most value over time. If you pick the right level, you can get the other levels at a more affordable cost in the future. So if you like his Bowman Chrome Auto, Cam just explained the way to eventually get one at a lower cost, basically. And it's by buying yourself time, buying the same asset, buying the same stock, but circling back around to it. So look, with McGonigal, 255 is a lot. And just trust me, we're not stopping on our side. As long as it remains cost efficient, we're going to go after it. It's because we do believe in him both short and long term. I'm not going to buy that much of a guy if I don't believe in him long term. And the idea is I'd rather buy a lot of these right now. And if he fails, it's okay. Low risk, zero reward. If he wins, I get to keep a lot of them. But more importantly, I can cycle a lot of them, and I can probably get his high end eventually because I think they won't go up as fast as his low end. And it's about grabbing that and eventually getting the cards that I really want. Like if I really want his Bowman Chrome Auto, I just need to be more patient with this. And if in the end McGonigal does not succeed, if he fails, if he gets to the major leagues and he can't hit a certain curveball or he gets injured and these cards drop in value, guess what? So does that Bowman Chrome Auto. But what I'm doing is I'm buying time right now with a prospect. So in general, baseball prospects, I do like to play it a little bit safer. I do think that the quick and easy money is always in the Bowman Chrome Auto, but also that's the painful money too, where a lot of people have taken some very major hits. And so why are we recommending the Bowman Mega? Because it's not only a play for everybody, but I do believe it's his most inefficient, and it's also the most efficient way to buy him right now to lock in a future win. It gives you the highest probability to win right now and to also punt the decision. I do think he's going to be a very, very relevant baseball player. I think he's going to be a top-level baseball player, and I would recommend everybody not just to buy one and flip it in a few months. Buy a few of them because this guy might be special. And if you can go back to the very beginning and buy 2011 Topps Update Mike Trouts or Bowman 2011 Draft Mike Trouts, or even Shohei Ohtani in 2018 was very affordable. Trout, you could have doubled, tripled, quadrupled your money in 2012 when he was setting the league on fire. But that would have been a mistake. You should have sold some and then held them because they went on an incredible run. So that'd be my advice here. I think it's a special talent. And even if it's not, this is a low risk, maybe low reward, but a good reward play.
Yeah. You know, the one thing before we end on McGonigal, what I want to highlight is that punt the decision. I've noticed that I use that term a lot too after hanging out with you for a bit. This one is important because what we mean by that is if you like Kevin McGonigal and you say, oh, I really want to buy something. I want to buy a high-end card. Maybe I don't care if it doesn't pan out. I just want to buy something right now. What we're saying is buy these first because you can actually eventually buy that card anyway, right? If it all goes up, that's still good if you made money buying the low end because no matter what, the cost is going to be free at that point. If you're confident about the guy, even if you're the most confident about the guy, so it allows you to, one, spread more bullets around. You can buy other players. You don't have to just buy McGonigal. So if you buy one Bowman Chrome Auto, that would have been maybe even 30 of the Mega Box refractors. And just like I was saying, it's the most inefficient but then efficient play for him. So what we're saying is this is going to unlock the ability for you to buy the high end for pennies on the dollar if you play it, the right way. So for us, I think that that's a really, really key function to how we not just play McGonigal, but all baseball prospects, because we want to buy everybody if we can, but we got to be smart about how we do it. And now, the reason we brought this up right in the middle of this episode is because we do want to preface to all of our audience that while, yes, we do love F1, what we're doing is just giving sports card advice. Like Mike says, good advice is just good advice. And that's why we like F1, so we point that out. We like this specific segment in McGonigal's market, and we're pointing that out. It's what we're here to do. Now, for the audience that, what are they here for? They're probably here for Formula One. Mike, there's a guy that everybody's been asking about. What do I do? How do I buy him? And I will give you the floor here because this is about as good of a time as any to bring it up.
Yep. And so I'm going to hit on one thing you just said, though, Cam, and it's so important for everybody to understand. Formula One, I keep on saying it, but congratulations to all the guys who have been doing this. The 2020 sets are as special as they get. The reason why we talk about it all the time specifically is because I think there's no better play in all of sports cards. I think that there has been no better play in all of sports cards the last few years. It's a safe haven in a wild, wild market. It's a special storm that I think is a huge anomaly in sports card, maybe even trading card history. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I think the world, and especially the US, is starting to realize how special this sport is and how special those 2020 sets are. Again, no major manufacturer, no Fleur, no Upper Deck, no Tops for ever. They never made Formula One trading cards. This is a worldwide popular sport. And to paint the picture the best way I can, Julio Rodriguez was the AL Rookie of the Year in 2022. Very popular, very highly collected. Jaden Daniels, the Washington Commanders Rookie of the Year last year, one of his cards just sold for $500,000. Rookie of the Year and very popular. You can add up both of their Instagram followers, and they do not have as much as a rookie in F1 this year. Not even the best rookie. His name is Gabriel Bortoleto. He has more followers than both Julio Rodriguez and Jaden Daniels. He's much younger than both of them, and he currently ranks 16th out of 20. And he has a bigger, stronger following. Now, how does this translate to card value? Everybody might say, it doesn't matter because none of those guys are buying cards. And that's where I say, okay, they're not buying cards. And so what are his cards worth today? And that's an important thing to think about because they're not buying cards yet. There's a lot of Americans who still do not know about these Formula One drivers. Not Gabriel Bortoleto, but just other drivers that may be great legends in the future. There's Americans who are falling in love with the sport left and right, and they're starting to see what the rest of the world sees. We've noticed this a few years ago, and it made too much sense. Again, the signs of early basketball I see with this, I've already compared it to 99 Pokemon, 86 Fleer, and 52 Tops. And I think I feel even stronger about this opinion as we start to see more and more participants enter the market. We've seen some incredible record sales recently, and this is why we've been getting requests off the charts to stop talking about other sports and focus on F1. We will keep balanced here, though, for everybody's sake. We think there's a lot of good information available everywhere. But without further ado, let's talk about Formula One. And in our trophy card showcased, Sir Lewis Hamilton. It doesn't get any better than this, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for waiting. Thank you for all the requests. We have 3 different sections for you. We're going to go the high end, the middle, and the low end. Lewis is as special as it gets in the sport. Think Tiger Woods, think LeBron James, think Messi, think Brady. That's what you have here. He is the 7-time world champion, the winningest Formula One driver in the sport's history. He is a pioneer. He is actually everything we wanted Tiger and LeBron to be. Very, very popular amongst the culture that knows him. He was David Letterman's first Netflix athlete guest. David Letterman went with his first episode was Obama, then Jay-Z, then Malala, then eventually his first athlete. It wasn't a big American star. It was Lewis Hamilton. This is years and years ago. That was my first indicator of I need to find out more about Formula One. Anyways, this is going to be pretty basic at the top end. Anybody who's been listening to any of our material should know this. At the very top end, it's going to be his 2020 Dynasty single patches. Now, in 2021, Topps came out with their first Formula One trading cards, and actually the first set released was the Topps Dynasty set. If we just flash a picture of this card, I think everybody can see the beauty in it. But it's as beautiful as it gets. The new term that everybody has been using for this card is it's called a portrait, a Dynasty portrait, in reference to the fact that it does have a lot of the aspects of the first 20 cards in the Chrome set that are called the F1 driver portraits. Now, the single patch has these distinct aspects. It has the big jumbo patch on the right side. It has the big autograph, and it has a big portrait image of the driver also. For us, I think everybody looking at this is a perfect RPA, or the rookie card in the set. Now, every driver has different cards in the set. They have a triple patch and a dual patch too. Aesthetically, though, I think this is what resembles Exquisite Rookie, a National Treasures in other sports, and those cards are massively, massively popular. I encourage anybody out there to go look at the data on 2009 National Treasures Steph Curry's. 2017 National Treasures Pat Mahomes, and most importantly, 2003 Exquisite LeBrons. Going card ladder, sorted by highest ever. And just take a note of what you see there. What you're going to see is their RPAs dominate the top of the list. They're iconic cards, they have iconic images, and they're desired by everybody. Further down the list, you'll see some nice logo patches. And so for Lewis Hamilton, if you're going to have this type of money, our recommendation is a single patch. There are 3 different poses, and they have a base version numbered to 10, a red version numbered to 5, and a gold 1 of 1. So there's 16 of each pose, and he has 3 poses. That means that there's 48 total of these single patches made, which is conveniently half the print run of a LeBron Exquisite RPA, just his base. This is going to be a very, very costly item. It is already by far our most requested item, but it's very clearly still has a path ahead. To just be as simple as possible, I think all the data, the interest, the natural trajectory of Formula One has us thinking that this is going to be the single most important Formula One trading card ever made. I think it clearly is on that trajectory, iconic status, and it's just very simple. He only has 121 total cards in the entire Topps Dynasty 2020 product, and those are his only on-card autos. He did not have any other on-card autos in any other sets. And so for now until forever, there's only 121 Lewis Hamilton on-card autos of his first year Topps that will exist. Amongst them, those single patches are by far the most gorgeous. We have guys already that are trying to complete the 20 driver set, and I think that's going to become a thing also. We've spoke about this in past episodes. Congrats to everybody that's been buying them. You guys are smashing it. And this Lewis is going to be the centerpiece of it. People will need it for their sets. Hamilton collectors will want it. I believe people who collect iconic sports cards, like the people who are buying the Messi Mega Cracks, people who are buying a Jordan 86 Fleer, or a LeBron Exquisite, a Brady Contenders ticket. This card fits squarely in that category. A Lewis on-card patch auto. If we can flash an image of the 20 driver set, the single patch set there, the most important thing about this card, and the one thing that just puts every Lewis first year dynasty over the hill, is that this is the first year of Topps F1 trading cards ever made. The Lewis Hamilton is the only card in the entire product that contains championship material. The driver suits used in this first year of Topps Dynasty comes from the 2020 season. And that season, Lewis would win his 7th World Drivers' Championship. This set also includes Sebastian Vettel, who is a 4-time world champion, and Kimi Räikkönen, who was a 2007 world champion. But the material used there was not from the championship season. Eventually, Max Verstappen would win 4 titles, and we may have a future champion, but the material there, only Lewis won that year. So not only is he Lewis Hamilton, not only is this already a widely desired card, it is literally unique in the sense that out of the entire set, he's the only card that actually has championship material. And so think more broadly, everybody. Just imagine if this was Jordan instead. Just imagine if this was Brady or Messi instead, and it was the first year of Topps or first year of Upper Deck, and they actually had championship material inside it. So that's what we're talking about here on the high end.
Yeah, this card is very, very special. Obviously, we all like it. I don't have to dive into it. The last thing I want to say on it, though, is that number, 3,746 total cards made in the entire set. That's very important. Also, Lewis is a fraction of that. But we have cards that are numbered to 4,099. Now, serial number to that much. And this entire print run of the product is under that, which I think is just amazing.
Yeah, the set itself, it's been compared so many times very favorably to 2003 Exquisite, another landmark set with, again, another landmark iconic sports card in the LeBron RPA. This one, if there's under 4,000 total cards made, not of Lewis, but of the entire product. First year on-card auto product of a worldwide popular sport that is just starting to grow. Moving on, we'll go to the mid-tier. Mid-tier, it's going to be from the Topps Chrome set, the 2020 Topps Chrome set, and it's the card number 1, the Lewis Hamilton portrait card. Specifically, it's going to be the silver refractor, gorgeous card, in PSA 10. This is an iconic card. You know, I think the image on it, it is going to be it's going to be the image that people use again and again to showcase Formula One over the years. Just like an 86 Fleer Jordan or a 52 Mantle, this will probably be the image that's used again and again for Formula One trading cards. It is the first Topps Chrome Formula One trading card made. But in silver, it looks gorgeous. Silver refractors are iconic in other sports. Think Kobe Bryant, think LeBron James. And with this Lewis, the print run on this card is actually under 1,200 total made. And that's a fascinating number because I believe even a player like Shohei Ohtani has 5,000 silver refractors made. You can go into more recent sets, and I think the number is close to 12 to 15,000 of Ellie De La Cruz. And so when you talk about Lewis Hamilton, this worldwide popular athlete who, again, this functions as his Topps Chrome rookie card and the first ever Formula One trading card made, there's under 1,200 refractors made. The PSA 10 pop report, low as it is now, it should always stay under 400. And I think it's going to be very, very supply-demand efficient. We're talking about a card right now that is right around the $1,000 area as we recommend this. And we do think that it's an important trading card for Formula One, for the sport, I think for sports cards in general. Take a look at what a Kobe goes for, a LeBron goes for, and understand that the world classifies Lewis Hamilton in the same class as those guys. Yeah, I think it's a card that, just like the Shohei Bowman Chrome that we recommended in our first episode, it's a card that a lot of people can participate in, and I think it's going to have a kind of an iconic nature to it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely on this one, too, as well. It's the first year of Topps Chrome F1. It's the first card in the entire set. It's only a 200-card base set, but the first card in that, too. Hamilton himself has 17 cards in that set, so he's a big part of it, but it's this specific one. It's that specific image. And like Mike, you said, you know, the pop report is probably going to say under 400. The way I look at it is even if it exceeds it or maybe even stays way lower, there's so many fans in Formula One and so many fans that don't even know that they like this card yet. And once they do, just there's going to be more than a few hundred people that want this at whatever price it gets to. It's just all these things are inevitable, and it's just a good asset.
Yeah, it feels like it's a pretty safe card to have. It's a fun card to collect. With what we do, there's always a little bit of risk involved, and it's important to understand that just give this one some time. It should just do fine over time. He has too many fans around the world. He's too iconic. And the card itself, the set itself, it should be very, very strong. If you're going to buy Formula One, why not buy this card? It is foundationally important for not only Lewis collectors, but for the sport itself.
Yep. All right. And now the last segment, the low end, this one, the way we've always looked at it is the low end in Formula One is not necessarily the same, but this play does, I think, fit that mold a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah, and I wanted to really state this. I think for the people who are reluctant to get into Formula One, we've heard it's a rich man's sport or the cards are too expensive. The beauty is it is a rich man's sport. It is a very high-end sport, and that's going to be great when you're selling your cards down the line. You're talking about very affluent people buying cards. At the same time, that's the beauty about sports trading cards. You don't need a lot of money. There's affordable cards all over the place. So on the low end, we are going with his 2020 Topps Chrome card number 142, Lewis Hamilton. And it is called his UK flag card because you can see it right there. It's a gorgeous looking card. It's an iconic moment in Lewis's career. It's his first time he went crowd surfing at his home crowd in the UK. This took place right before the pandemic where you could still crowd surf and he didn't have to wear a mask. And so Lewis still remembers the moment himself too. This picture is used very many times over and over again. It also happens to be a card in the first year of a Topps Chrome set that has a national flag in it. It has Lewis's country, and Lewis is very famous for being British. He loves his country. He is called Sir Lewis Hamilton for a reason. He is knighted, and we say a man in his country, basically, with this card. It already is a fan favorite. The base versions of this go for about $3 to $5 in the Topps Chrome set. The refractors will run you maybe about $30 right now, and there's a sapphire version that runs about $7 to $10. You have colored refractors of this, but look, if you want to play it on the ultra low end and just get a nice, cool collectible, if you have $3, you can buy the base version of it and just let it sit. It's a nice way to get started with Formula One trading cards that also functions to us as a good investment. Sapphires seem very, very affordable right now. Gorgeous blue card, but my biggest recommendation would be the silver refractors. Again, gorgeous looking cards. If you can afford an aqua in the sapphire number 299 or like a gold those are still relatively affordable right now too. The gold's numbered to 50. In the different versions, they may cost you $150 to $200, but it's a gorgeous card, and there will never be enough of this card made, because this is a guy adored by millions and millions of countrymen, his fellow countrymen. And this is the one card in the set that functions as a Lewis Hamilton flag card. So for me, this is not a numbers game with this one. It's just pure aesthetics. As Cam said earlier, Lewis has 17 other cards in that first year Topps Chrome set. This one stands up above the fray as a card that moves the heart. And I think it's going to dry up over time. I think people are going to absolutely love the card. I think this is a card that's going to get the British public into collecting trading cards. And it has multi-functions here where I think it's going to be hoarded, gifted, all these different things. As trading cards start to expand in Europe, if you know somebody that's getting to sports cards, you can basically grab it and give it to them as a gift and say, here's your first trading card, you know? And so I do see some people in the UK starting to start their sports card collection with a card like this. And it being from the first set, it's again safe in my mind.
Yeah, definitely. This is a good one just because when we talk about safety, right? There's not a lot in Formula One that we can recommend that's that cheap, because those things just don't typically exist. And it's usually not the game that I think a lot of our clientele plays. But as this market starts to expand, which we are seeing day to day, this is just a good way to do it. In the end, they didn't make enough of the top end. Maybe they didn't make enough of the low end either, but this is a good way to encompass everyone as a whole and just say, hey, if you love the sport, if you know someone that loves the sport, they'll love this card too.
Yep. And Cam, I'm going to do this. We didn't do this in past episodes, but this one is just perfect to do it because Lewis is special. This is the goat of the sport, guys. And he has trading cards available, which makes his sports card situation as unique as it gets. I'm going to build a list for people real fast. So we start at the high end, Dynasty. That's going to be not only his best card, but probably one of the most iconic cards in sports card history. I think in Formula One, for me, it's very simply that card. And I'm talking about even above the inserts in the Dynasty set too. I think that card is iconic. That's going to be at the top end. Then we went with the mid end, the Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10. Then we went to these UK flag cards. I'm going to add in a few more. If you can't afford those, if they don't hit your interest, or if you just want to build around Lewis PC, because I do think he's going to be one of the most fun guys to PC. You know, if you PC Messi, Brady, Jordan, Lewis is probably going to be your guy in F1. So a nice Lewis collection would probably include a Dynasty on-card patch auto. And the good news is that he has subsequent years that aren't as expensive as his 2020s. And you can buy an on-card patch auto of Lewis for under $3,000 right now. That might sound like a lot, but again, just go look at what other athletes of his caliber go for in other sports for on-card patch autos. Lewis, most years, he has under 200 Topps Dynasties made, and those are his only on-card patch autos to date. I would recommend buying one of those. Adding it to a collection is not bad if you have the budget for it. Lewis color track tags, they're massively popular. His 2020 track tags, they're numbered to either 50 for the gold, 25 for the orange, or the Ultra Impossible reds. But they're very popular, and I think they function as, again, good modern marvels, good investment pieces, because they move the heart very, very, very much. After that, first year Lewis Hamilton gold refractors. The true golds are the ones you want to get, but if you miss out on those, you know, going for his sapphires and his gold waves, even his 70th anniversaries, I think they should do good over time. Right now, there's a lot of room for people to PC a lot of different items, and I do see them playing out very well over time because we are starting to notice they're drying up at a pretty rapid pace right now. As we get more people coming in from outside sports, they're very quickly identifying Lewis Hamilton as their guy, and it should create a very nice system. You guys have all seen this happen with MJ, with Brady, with Messi. I think it's going to happen with Lewis too. And because there's so few cards available in those 2020 sets, I think all these cards should do good.
Yeah, this definitely is a good, even for myself, to just have these notes. And I mean, obviously I'm familiar with it, but just to have it done on a list, it's a good profile. If you can have one of everything Mike just said, congrats to you, because I think you're going to do pretty good. But it's a great breakdown of what we do here, why Mike's on the phone like 24/7. I've never seen a dude on the phone this much ever in my life, but this is what he's doing. He's building these things out for you guys, and it's not just him blindly recommending it. It's all of these things are backed by data, and you know, if we're right about it, then congrats, because I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Absolutely, Cam. Before we head out, I just want to say thanks again, Cam, for all the hard work you do. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Keep sending those questions. Keep trying to figure out what plays work best for you. Keep sending us the suggestions. And thank you so much for the patience in waiting for this Lewis Hamilton episode. You guys' patience hopefully is rewarded with this episode. But if it's not, keep sending us the questions and we'll try to help where we can. I wanted to talk about the Modern Marvels. I think that the Modern Marvels, the product, we have been getting a bunch of requests for it. All sold out now. But I wanted to let everybody know that the Volume 5, the Knicks F1 Elite, we're still building it. As much as I want to say coming soon, we said it from day one. We want to make sure that these things are worthy of the Modern Marvels names. And we know a lot of you are starting to really get the gist of this. But stay tuned for that. We will make an announcement when it's ready. In the meantime, we're hard at work trying to build the product, making sure that it's everything that everybody deserves. So thank you all for the support for it. We'll flash some of the data eventually on our Instagram again, but that Modern Marvels Volume 1, it's winning big time. So thank you everybody who supported it in the beginning, and we can't wait to see everything else that's ahead.
Yep, definitely excited about this. Again, long-term sports card sustainability, doing sports cards the right way. That's what this product, that's what this podcast, that's what we're all about. And it's something that we want to be proud of because we want somebody else to be happy with, and that's all of you. So thank you again so much for all of your support for this podcast, catching you guys at the shows, the messages on Instagram, emails through the site. We're very, very thankful for all of it. But we'll keep working, we'll keep building with all of you. And until the next time, we'll catch you guys later. Take care, everyone. Thank you guys again, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Modern Marvels podcast. If you liked what we talked about with Kevin McGonigal, be sure to check out our last episode where Mike breaks down one of his biggest wins in sports cards featuring Ronald Acuna Jr. And for our F1 guys, stay tuned for updates as we have our next eBay F1 feature auction right around the corner. If you liked what you heard so far, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out our Instagram for even more sports card content. Until next time, take care everyone.